Are you sitting somewhere dark? Yes, that's right, it's time for another ghost story. This is a ghost story that I told on the radio when I was 15 years old for a Tell Us Your Scariest Ghost Story contest, and I totally won. And the prize was a night in a haunted house with a bunch of people, along with a bunch of beer and pizza. Weird stuff went on there, which I'll tell you in another video in this series. But anyway, here's the story that got me to win the radio contest. I guess it must have happened a year or two before that. I can't remember what year precisely, but I suppose I must have been about 13 or 14 years old. My grandparents lived in this very old house, I think one of the oldest ones in the city, on their farm. And they believed that their house was haunted by a nice ghost they called him Old Dunk because his name was Duncan. They said that he was the man who had lived there before they did, I think. Sometimes you would hear footsteps in the attic. I think they said that he lived in the attic. And the lights would flick on and off. And I had that happen while I was there one day. I was sitting in the kitchen on my own and I heard clonk, 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 clonk above me, and then the lights went on and off a couple of times. And they said that happened all the time, and they'd just be like, oh hey old Dunk. So this one night, I didn't spend very many nights there, but one night my two cousins and I'll just call them Cousin 1 and Cousin 2, my cousins from Australia. They thought it would be fun if we had like a bit of a slumber party. So the three of us were to spend the night in Grandma's living room on the floor. I was sleeping on the floor by the fireplace with my head closest to the fireplace. Cousin number 1 was sleeping on the couch next to me, and cousin number 2 was on the adjacent angle, I think, to me down by my feet. While we were lying down trying to go to sleep, the fire was going and it was very hot, especially as I was right beside it. I was very hot, and so I had quite a hard time falling asleep. After a while, I felt very clearly a presence next to my head. Like you can feel when there's someone beside you, right? You can kind of feel that there's somebody there, if that makes sense. You probably know what I'm talking about. But I felt like so strongly that there was someone's legs or whatever standing next to my head, like there was someone, like a man, standing in front of the fire getting warm. And the feeling was so strong that I was like, oof. I moved out of the way. I felt like I had to shift because I was in somebody's way. Eventually, I did fall asleep, and passing this off is just something I had imagined. I didn't say anything to my cousins in the morning, but cousin number 1 said, who'd been on the couch next to me, said in the morning, gosh, it was so weird. Last night I could have sworn I felt like there was someone standing by the fire. And cousin number 2 said, oh my god, yeah, I thought so as well. I was like, no way. Yeah, I thought that as well. And we were so excited by what had happened. We were so giddy and excited that we'd had this sort of shared paranormal experience that we decided to do it again. So a few days later we were granted permission to spend another night there, so we did so, and we slept in all the same positions. So me by the fire, cousin 1 on the couch, cousin 2 down by my feet. This time the fire wasn't going, and we were we were quite excited to fall asleep, but waiting for something spooky to happen, but nothing did. Because it wasn't so hot this time, I did fall asleep. But, and this is the part that truly sounds insane. This is the part that I don't expect people to believe, but I cannot deny what I saw. I woke up in the middle of the night. I don't know what time it was, but it was dark. And I woke up, and I shit you not, I saw a man walking across the living room towards the fireplace. I watched him walk, and then I watched him walk back. And I remember what he looked like. I could see what he was wearing. He was an old gentleman, and he had on a hat, he had on like a checkered shirt, like a swan dry kind of thing, and a pair of, like old trousers. Neither of the other two saw this, but I saw it clear as crystal, and I can't deny it. I saw it, I can't deny it. Anyway, I told my grandmother about this, and my grandmother, like I said, my grandparents did believe that their house was haunted, and they were fine with that. And my grandma was a believer in ESP and things like that. So I told her about the story, and I described the man to her, and she says, yes, that does sound like him. That does sound like what he looked like. Maybe every night old Dunk just walks up to the fireplace and gets himself warm habitually. I don't know. At the time, I was very into spiritual stuff like that. A lot more than I am now. Like, I was quite active with that whole kind of thing, and so I had done quite a lot of reading, and I had read somewhere that spirits can enter the home through mirrors. I don't know how much truth there is in this, or if you've heard anything similar, I don't know, but I do remember reading somewhere that spirits can enter the home through a mirror if it is placed adjacent to the most commonly used door in the house. And in the case of this living room, that was the case. The most commonly used door in the house was the living room door. Undeniably, it was access to the rest of the house, and there was a huge mirror right next to it, adjacent to it on that wall. And I mentioned this to my grandmother as well, and she thought that sounded legit. She was like, sure, why not? Maybe. That is the story that I told on the radio as a 15-year-old, where I got to spend a night in a haunted house as a prize. I will, in one of my next ghost story videos, I will tell you what weird stuff went down at that haunted house with the people I got to spend the night with there. It was cool. So I think that's a cool story. I mean, obviously this ghost wasn't a mean ghost, but I mean, if you're gonna have experiences with ghosts, wouldn't you rather that they were with nice ghosts who were just like people, like nice people, and not bad people or bad spirits? I don't know. In my last ghost video, I said please share with me your own personal ghost stories, or ones that you've heard, things that have happened to people you know, or whatever, because I have been really enjoying reading them, so please keep them coming. If you've got anything, please by all means comment below. I love reading them, and I love stuff like that. I love stuff that can't be explained. Well, thank you very, very much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel. I put out 2 new videos every week. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time. Bye.